The Broodals are back for one final throwdown, and this video will help you make sure that you come out on top. The first Broodal is the illusionist, Topper. Just like previous fights, he summons several spinning hats to try to confuse and hurt you. Unlike before, however, his stack of hats on his head is much more of a threat. This is especially true in the third phase, where the range of his spinning attack is much larger than you can throw your hat. When the fight starts, hit him 3 times to knock off all his hats. While he's stunned, ground pound on his head. When the hats start bouncing around, keep to the side and focus on hitting any hats that get too close. Don't be afraid to jump if you need to. After a while, the fake hats will disappear, and Topper will come back with a massive stack of hats. When he starts walking towards you, circle around him, making sure not to get too close. As soon as he falls forward, jump over him and ground pound him while he's spinning. This time even more hats will be bouncing around. Like before, keep to the side and focus on hitting the hats that get too close. Note that if you jump on the hat Topper is in, this ends immediately, but I don't recommend it. Once he emerges, circle around him again and ground pound him as he's spinning to finish him off. The next Broodal is the pyrotechnic, Hariet. This fight is largely the same as the previous Hariet fight. Hariet will attempt to get a certain distance from you, then fling bombs that explode after a short time. Watch out when the bombs explode, they lay behind dangerous ground for quite a while. After a couple small bombs, she'll throw bigger bombs. When she does this, it's much easier to hit them back at her. Just make sure you aren't between her and the bomb when you do it. You can also hit the small bombs back, but it is riskier. The best way to do this is to get close to Hariet so she backs away. If she throws the bombs, move back and line yourself up to hit it back. Don't worry about being too slow. As long as you aren't too close, you won't get hurt. Once you hit her with a bomb, hit her again with your hat to stun her, then jump on her. She'll then retreat into her hat and fly around like a UFO, dropping bombs as she travels. By watching the angle the UFO makes, you can predict where she'll go and hit her with a bomb. Rinse and repeat 3 times, and Hariet will be defeated. Following Hariet is the local fire hose, Spewart. This fight works the same as the previous Spewart fight, only with a slightly larger radius of poison. Keep your distance, use your hat to get rid of the poison, then knock his hat off as he walks towards you. Once his hat is off, ground pound him like the others. If you're quick, you can even hit him and ground pound him before he spews anything. When he's in his hat, use Cappy to bounce him away when he gets close. Alternatively, you can jump on his hat while he's bouncing around. This is easiest to do from the edge. When he starts moving, jump up and then ground pound right before he's under you. As he returns to center, clear the way with Cappy, smack him, and you can get a free hit before he makes another mess. Hit him 3 times, and he'll go down. The final Broodal is the bouncer, Rango. Because of the moon's low gravity, this fight works completely differently. This time, you can simply jump above him as he's throwing his hats. You still have the option of hitting his hat with yours, and running into it to launch into the air, but it's more dangerous. Once he starts bouncing around, you have 2 options. The first is to stay on the ground and strafe his bounces until he stops, then jump on his head again. I recommend the alternative, however, which is moving away from him against the wall, then jumping. Similar to Spewart, you can then ground pound his hat to end the phase. When this happens, don't move. They'll launch high into the air, then land directly on him again. Move away again and repeat, and that's the end of Rango. Before talking about the final fight, there's a few things to mention. You can start the fights with 6 hearts if you're still having difficulty. You can even go back to the Odyssey to heal in between fights, although this is time consuming. There's a heart and a moon in between Rango and the final fight, although you can only get the moon once, so choose wisely. With all that in mind, let's talk about the final fight. The final fight is RoboBrood, controlled by the 4 Broodals. Instead of pecking, this time you'll take control of a hammer bro to damage the legs. For the first phase, take control of a hammer bro and move close to the legs to deal damage. You can destroy the bombs as long as they're above you, and they can't hit you if you're right next to RoboBrood. You can actually hit the Broodals with well-timed jumps and hammers, but I recommend going after the legs first. After knocking it over, take out the Broodal of your choice. Note that there will always be a Broodal on top. After doing this, you'll be blown away. Keep your distance and wait for RoboBrood to stop walking. Once the legs open their exhaust ports, do the same thing as before to take out the next Broodal. At this point, you'll want to abandon your hammer bro and strafe the boss's dash twice. Similar to the first fight, RoboBrood only dashes twice before returning to center. If possible, grab another hammer bro while it's dashing the second time, then meet RoboBrood in the center. This will let you hammer it instantly, skipping the dangerous spinning discs. If you're not comfortable doing this, instead hug the wall and let the discs run into it. After a while, you should be able to get close again and hammer the legs. Once the third Broodal goes down, stay a moderate distance away while the armor returns to the legs. When this happens, approach again and hammer away. If you're too slow, do the same thing as the previous phase. And that's all there is to the dark side fight. I hope this helped you beat the fight, or, if you've already beaten it, given you some insight in how to beat each Broodal. Please let me know in the comments what you think, or if there's anything important I missed. Thanks for watching.